Hello everybody, so this is Chris again, your friendly neighborhood library liaison to the Graduate School of Education, and this is the instructional video that I promised you in my introductory video. What I'm looking at here is a copy of your course syllabus, and as I scroll down I see here that you're going to be required to find some scholarly journal literature. For those of you who are master's level, you're going to need to find at least 5 journal articles. Doctoral level, at least 10. So that's what we are going to talk about now. And what I've done in preparation for this is I've come up with a sample research topic. Let's say, and this is again sort of based loosely on the interest inventory that you all provided for Dr. Miller. I kind of cobbled together a couple things based on the interests of a few of you. So we're looking for scholarly journal literature, that is to say, in most instances, peer-reviewed journal articles, in which the authors discuss curriculum analyses of high school level science education programs, right? So there's a lot of syllables there. But essentially the core elements of what and this is how I want you to think, the core elements of this research topic are curriculum analysis, secondary level education, and science education. Okay, these are the 3 nuggets that make up this particular research topic. So let's find some scholarly literature about this topic. I'm going to begin from the UB Library's homepage. How's that as a surprise for you? And those of you who have used the library for conducting research in the past will see that we've made some changes over the last few months. From the library's homepage here, I'm going to scroll down to this icon here labeled Research Guides, which will bring up this nice long alphabetical listing of all of these areas of study that we support here at UB. And under Education, you will find LAI, and if you click on there, it will bring up a research guide that includes an image of your friendly neighborhood librarian and a listing of the sources that are going to be relevant to you based on the kind of material you're looking for. So in most instances, when one is looking for scholarly literature, they are looking for journal articles. And that's why this is the default tab on this page. However, whether it's for this class or maybe for others, you may be looking for books, dissertations, educational statistics, educational tests, right? There's a tab there for finding all of that material. But what we're going to do today is we're going to begin by going in this database that no doubt some of you are already familiar with, called Education Source. And just as a reminder, our topic is curriculum analyses of secondary level science education programs. Now, there are lots of different ways of conducting searches in a database like this, and most of you will default to entering in key terms in these boxes here and hopefully finding relevant journal literature. However, I would suggest to you that at this advanced level, you all are at an advanced level in your field. I would suggest to you that there's probably a smarter, more effective, and more efficient way of beginning a search like this. And that would be to start by going into the thesaurus. Because when we rely on keyword searching, and you all know this, whether it's from circumstances related to doing educational research or even just doing common kinds of online research by using search engines like Google and so forth. that very often the key terms that we use do not retrieve the results that we're looking for. Sometimes we get too many results, sometimes too few, sometimes the results are irrelevant based on our search criteria. So beginning with the thesaurus enables us to find the key terminology, the subject terms. Some of us refer to these subject terms as descriptors. These key terms that refer very specifically, very technically to the articles that we are looking for. And in that way, it helps us to retrieve more relevant, useful scholarly literature. Now that might seem a little bit abstract, so let me just demonstrate for you. One of the nuggets of our research is curriculum analysis. Okay, so if we run our search, the database will tell us that for curriculum analysis, it's probably better for us to use terms like educational evaluation, or maybe even assessment of education. That's a language that this database understands in order to help us retrieve the articles that we're looking for. Now mind you, using this thesaurus does not work 100% of the time, but I'm demonstrating this for you to show you that I think this is going to be the best place for you to begin. So I've selected these two terms here that the database recommends, and I'm going to find this add button and add them to my search. And look what's happening up along the top of the screen here. You see we're beginning to speak a language that the database understands. Okay, so science education, that's another nugget in our research topic. If I browse for that, it recognizes science education. But if we look down on this list, we see also STEM education, which could certainly be relevant. So I can add those terms to our search. And now we have a big, long search strategy. Okay, and I'd just like to, there are other things that we can do in the thesaurus, but for the purpose of demonstrating how to use this particular database, I'm going to just run this search right now and show you that it's going to bring up 573 articles. So let's narrow that down. Remember, we are interested in secondary level science education. So why don't we type in high school, and I'm going to add an asterisk there to that because that asterisk will allow us to retrieve results that have the term high school or high schools, plural, or secondary. And let's put that asterisk back in there. And I'm going to narrow this down to articles in which the term high school or high schools or secondary appear in the abstract of these 573 articles. For those who are unfamiliar with what the abstract is, essentially the abstract is an entire article that is distilled down to just one paragraph that describes everything that is pertinent to that article. So if that term high school or high schools or secondary appears in the abstract, then it is certainly appropriate for what we are looking for. I'm going to redo my search. That gets us down to 86, which is a lot nicer to work with. But there are other ways of narrowing down our search as well. Remember, we're looking for scholarly, peer-reviewed journal articles. Not everything in this list of results is that. So if I put a check mark there, that skims a few off the top. Notice also that what we have retrieved dates all the way back to 1947. I think Dr. Miller would like to see more current research. So let's narrow this down to, let's say, the last 10 years. Now we're down to 31. How about that? 31 journal articles that are exactly, precisely about the subject matter that we are interested in for this research topic. And if you scroll through these results, you'll see that a lot of them are full text. One of the things that is important for you to pay attention to, if you're finding journal articles that are really relevant for your research, number one, pay attention to the other research that those authors are citing, okay? Because those are the building blocks for whatever it is they are presenting or arguing, right? So another thing to pay attention to is this link right here, times cited in this database. So whereas cited references go back in time, you know, the authors are citing previous research, this right here goes forward in time, and it links you to articles that were subsequently published that have cited this particular paper. Okay, so in that way you can go backward and forward in time. Let's scroll through these results and you'll see a lot of these are available full text. Sometimes you'll see something like this, or it'll say full text from Science Direct or another database. That's essentially telling you that you have access, but through a different database, and those things are cross-linked. There may be instances in which you might not see something here indicating that the full text is available. There may not be a PDF version or an HTML version and so forth. When that happens, you'll always see this link right here that says check here to see if UB owns this item. And if you click on there, it will search across all of our holdings, and ideally, it's not doing it right here, click to open. Ideally, if we have access to that article, it will show up right there for you. In this instance, we do have excuse me, access to it, but there will be instances where we may not have access to an article that you're looking for. And when that happens, just to bring up a separate browser window here, when that happens, you will be automatically linked to a service called Delivery Plus. Okay, so instead of that article displaying, another page will pop up that links you to this service called Delivery Plus. Delivery Plus is our new interlibrary loan system. It's all digital, and it allows you to, by virtue of just making a couple of clicks, request free digital copies of articles that we do not have electronic access to. It's very intuitive. Just follow the links, click submit, and automatically your request is distributed to a consortium of over 10,000 different libraries. And one of those libraries out there will raise their hand and say, we have a copy of this, and we'll send it to you. They'll send us the file, and we will forward it to your email account. And if you have any difficulty at all with that, remember, here's your guy, right? Okay? Contact me. I'm more than happy to help you out. A few other things I think are important to show you here. So as you are making your way through these search results, you might be interested in saving some of these, printing them off, emailing them to yourself. For each one that you like, you can just click on this folder icon over here on the right hand side. And when you're done conducting your research, up here at the top of the screen is a folder for your current search session. I emphasize current search session because if while you're doing your research, you get up to make yourself a little bit of lunch or something like that, and if you walk away from this and the database times out on you, then you will have lost everything that you've saved. So don't walk away from your research, okay? So I'm in my folder here, and here are all of the items that I saved for myself. I'm going to select them all and show you that you can print them off, you can email them to yourself, you can save them to wherever you like to save things to, whether that's a thumb drive or hard drive or whatever the heck you're driving, you can save it there. Or, Dr. Miller also wanted me to show you, if you use something called a reference manager or a citation manager, these computer application programs you may be familiar with. One of them is EndNote, another is Zotero, another is RefWorks, another is Mendeley. There are many, many different citation or reference managers out there. These are applications that will allow you to store all of the research that you have collected along the way, and to organize it, and even to deploy it in papers that you might be writing. So let me demonstrate for you with a computer application that I sometimes use and that you have access to by virtue of being a University of Buffalo student. The program is called EndNote. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to export all of these items that I like here into my own personal EndNote library. It's on my computer, right? It's not a cloud thing, although you can set up your EndNote program as a web-based program, but I'm sort of taking a detour here. So I'm going to export. If you are logged in as a UB affiliated user, then it will default to this option, which includes EndNote. And if you click Save, what will happen is automatically your EndNote library will wake up, and all of these items that you saved in your database search, right? So let's go back. All of these items right here will show up in your own personal EndNote library. Now let me show you a couple of things that are important to know and how you can use this thing. Now I've set up my EndNote library so that everything is formatted APA style 6th edition. I'm looking at these records here and I can see that they are not perfect APA style. So EndNote can place authors and titles and journal names and volumes and issues and page numbers. It can place all of those things where they need to be in the bibliographic citation. However, it cannot correct that information when it's exported out of a database. So I'm looking at this particular citation here, and I see a number of letters that don't belong there. I see words capitalized that should not be. It's easy enough to fix all of these things. I'm just going to double click on this record, and let's get rid of these things here, because that does not belong in the bibliographic citation. Let's uncapitalize these words that should not be capitalized. Remember, pay attention to your APA style. Dr. Miller is a stickler on that, as she should be. I'm going to save that work that I just corrected. I'm going to close that particular reference and show you that now that's fixed. Okay? It's easy enough to fix. What else can we do with this? Well, what I did was I started typing up an example of a scholarly paper. So you're working on your scholarly paper, and you've typed in, there is an emergent body of curriculum analysis research pertaining to secondary level science education. And let's say that you are citing some research that you have found. Let's say that you're citing this particular author right here. All we need to do is find this little insert citation icon and click it, and it will automatically put in your in-text reference and your end reference, the full bibliographic citation at the end of the paper. Okay? And as you are doing this, as you're typing your paper, these complete bibliographic references at the end of your paper will always appear in the correct order. Let me show you something else. For those of you who, like me, are somewhat distrustful of Microsoft Word because of all of the automated features always running in the background, if you use the EndNote application like this, what you're doing is you're essentially adding more automated features, which you may not be able to change once you've added them. I don't know about you, but that's kind of a scary prospect for me. So there's another way of typing up your paper and using EndNote that you might find useful. It's easy to enter in the author's name that you're citing as you're typing up your paper. Okay, so let's say that you're citing Dr. Miller in a paper that she published in 2017. That's easy. All of you can do that. It takes 2 seconds. Not even, right? When you finish your paper, when you have those 15 or 20 references that need to be typed up APA style, you know, that's when it can be a little bit tedious and you might make some mistakes with your APA style citing and so forth. Back in your EndNote library, if you select all the items that you're citing in your paper, right-click on it, choose the function that says Copy Formatted. Essentially what you are doing is you are copying all of those bibliographic references formatted APA style. And if you open your paper back up and just do a paste function, so Control V as in Victor, and there are your references. And you can format them as you like. Right? Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can all see. Just make sure that these things right here are corrected in your EndNote library before you do that export. Remember, it's easy to fix all of these. All you have to do is just double-click, make whatever corrections you need to, and you'll be fine. So the last thing that I want to say, I've gotten away from finding journal literature here a little bit, but the last thing that I think I wanted to say is to remind you that when you're doing this kind of research, you'll probably come across instances where you get tripped up a little bit. You might have difficulty finding whatever it is that you're looking for. Just remember, I'm your guy. It's easy enough to find me either on this research guide or even under About Us, under Staff Directory. Remember, Chris Hollister, here I am, here's my contact information. Email is always the best way to reach me. If I don't get back to you within a day or so, it's typically because I'm traveling, but I will get back to you. That's my promise. Okay? Thanks a lot for hanging in there with me. Enjoy your class with Dr. Miller, and I look forward to talking to a lot of you.